Hello everyone, I'm Charlie Tolhurst and welcome to my latest YouTube video today, the latest edition of the Motorsport Weekly episode here on my YouTube channel. I just want to say this is a new Motorsport YouTube series that I'm going to be doing where each episode will react on the week's Motorsport news. Now unfortunately there was no episode last week, so I'm going to try and jumble up a list of all of the latest Motorsport news that's come across to you guys right now. Now we're going to start off in the Formula 1 now and talk about the Sao Paulo Grand Prix and also as well the Mexico City Grand Prix as well. Max Verstappen claimed victory in both of those races, but this time round in Sao Paulo, Max Verstappen went even further and won another record. I think it was his 17th win of the season. A huge milestone for the Dutchman. An all-time record breaker. An absolute dominant display once again by Max Verstappen, who won the race, and he's already won the championship and has won a dramatic race. Brazil certainly provided it all, and Verstappen delivered. 8.2 seconds behind was Lando Norris in McLaren, finishing in a very strong second place. Another podium for Lando Norris. A guy who, honestly, McLaren had such a huge resurgence since since they brought the upgrades in, really, in Austria, where Lando shone in that race. McLaren were back on top despite a terrible start to the year. They got a car in Austria with the upgrades. In Silverstone, they qualified second and third, got on the podium, and yeah, Lando Norris finished in second place, and he nearly overtook Max Verstappen. They had a great battle on track. In the end, though, the Dutchman just was too strong for him. But 8 seconds behind, that's a pretty decent result. But then 34 seconds behind, there was probably battle of the season between Fernando Alonso, who got a third place for Aston Martin third and fifth. Lance Stroll getting, I think this is one of his best results of the season, actually, in fifth place. Honestly, for Lance Stroll, that fifth place to him is a massive result for him. He's had such a poor run of form lately. Didn't score a point before, I think, that race. It's Belgium. I think he did. I think he got a point in. I'm not sure he got a point in Mexico, but he's had a torrid run, and that fifth place is a huge haul of points for Aston Martin in the Constructors' Championship. Fernando Alonso, his first podium since the Dutch Grand Prix. Yes, Alonso's had a little bit of misfortune this year, but he's back on form again. That drive was unbelievable. Third place, probably his best podium of the year. That defence he put up at the end was incredible. That move on Sergio Perez as well put up an incredible amount of defending. Perez got past him. Another guy who's under a lot of pressure, but drove really well. Sergio Perez finished in fourth place, just only about 1 millisecond off a podium. Very, very unlucky, but Sergio Perez, that's a much better result for him, given Red Bull's given his difficult run and form again recently as well. Carlos Sainz finished in 6th position, behind Lance Stroll. Sainz did drop off towards the end of the race. Beat both Mercedes, I'll come on to them in a minute. Pierre Gasly got a 7th for Alpine. And this is the surprise. Lewis Hamilton finished a very disappointing 8th place after looking actually quite good in the sprint early on. Mercedes had a torrid weekend. Their car was not set up right at all. Given that Mercedes won the 2022 edition of the race, where George Russell actually won it, his first ever F1 victory, and then had Lewis Hamilton second. Mercedes were not first and second. They were 8th and DNF this year. Lewis Hamilton fell right down the field. George Russell actually was really struggling towards the end of that race. He had a terminal issue on the car. Unfortunately, he had to retire. But Lewis Hamilton, 8th place. Yuki Tsunoda getting a 9th place. I think he scored more points in the last 3 races than he has all season. It's quite incredible, really. Tsunoda's been picking up some points finishes for AlphaTauri. I know he threw it all away in Mexico, but 2 points for AlphaTauri. Yuki Tsunoda not a bad result for him. 9th place, very decent result for him. And Esteban Ocon with 10th place. Again, not quite delivering for that team, given where Pierre Gasly finished. As well, Logan Sargent was 11th. That isn't a bad result for him, actually. But again, there was loads of DNFs. Nico Hulkenberg 13th. Again, Hulkenberg didn't do bad. He always does well in qualifying. That comes to the car, just not suited to him. The car's really not that very slow not very any pace. And then Daniel Ricciardo and Oscar Piastri both were the last two finishes. Now, what happened was, on the first lap, there was a crash that took out Alex Albon and Kevin Magnussen, which was triggered really by, I think, several drivers getting involved. But now, obviously, Oscar Piastri and Daniel Ricciardo both suffered damage. The McLaren and the AlphaTauri drivers both suffered damage. They had to be fixed during the red flag session. But what I don't understand was why they had to restart the race one lap down when they could have essentially have got their cars fixed and been reinstated on the lead lap. I find that very strange because that meant they had a very lonely race. And yeah, I mean, honestly, Oscar Piastri could have had a good shot at a top 5 finish. Because I think he would have been a lot quicker than certainly probably Lance Stroll. But yeah, just a weird one in the end. And Charles Leclerc didn't even start the race after a hydraulic issue on the formation lap. The heartbreak for Leclerc, actually. And for Zhou Guanyu and Valtteri Bottas, both retired with mechanical failures. So Max Verstappen now leads the championship. He's now up to fight over 500 points. We go to the next race, which is next weekend at 6 o'clock in the morning, Las Vegas. For the Las Vegas Grand Prix, penultimate round of the season. We're going to America, we're going to Las Vegas. Lots of criticism around this race from the organisers, particularly those in Las Vegas, saying it's going to create an eyesore. Let me know, guys, down in the comments about the Las Vegas Grand Prix. What do you make of it? Please let me know. Not just F1 news now, NASCAR also took their final race of the season last week at Phoenix. It was the season finale 500 for the NASCAR drivers. The NASCAR Cup Series went there. And Ross Chastain won on the road. Provisionally won on the road, but he wasn't a playoff driver. So, congratulations to I think it was a first time champion. Yes, congratulations to Ryan Blaney. For winning the first ever... Ryan Blaney, congratulations to him for winning the 2023 NASCAR Cup Series champion. For winning the championship. Ryan Blaney comes from Racing Dynasty from Dave Blaney, who's his father. As well. And Blaney won the championship this year. His maiden championship, huge congratulations to him. He got a second place at Phoenix, which was enough to seal him the title, because he finished ahead of the other drivers. Kyle Larson was third, William Byron was fourth. And yeah, he finished ahead of his rivals. He won the championship at Phoenix, and NASCAR will return next year for the Busch Clash in February, along with as well the Daytona 500. In fact, we'll go over quickly now the first few races of the NASCAR 2024 calendar whilst we're here, guys. Because the 2024 calendar is looking very, very interesting. Lots of racing taking place next year for the 2024 season. Plenty of races as well, about 30 races throughout the whole year in the main season. Starts on the 4th of February at the Busch Clash at the LA Coliseum. The first championship race will be the 18th of February. That'll be Sunday, the 18th of February, where the drivers and teams will be heading to Daytona Beach in Daytona, Florida, for the Daytona Beach, the Daytona International Race Speedway, as it's called, the famous 2.25 mile track, for the Daytona 500 laps, 2.5 mile oval. Certainly be interesting. We then have Las Vegas on the 3rd of March afterwards. That will be the Pennzoil 400 presented by Jiffy Lube. These are the first sort of 5-6 races of the season. We then have the Shriners Children's 500 at Phoenix. They go back to Phoenix actually on the 10th of March for that race. Then we go to the Food City 500, which will be taking place on the 17th of March at Bristol. I believe that, I'm not sure if that's on dirt. According to that, that looks like a tarmac race because it's 500 laps. So maybe the dirt race has been moved. I don't know. Or it's been axed. I don't know. Sunday, the 24th of March, is the Circuit of the Americas. That's the first road course of the year. That will be the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix. That's actually going on the, funny enough, on the road course. On the Grand Prix circuit in America. COTA. And the Toyota Owners 400 will be at Richmond on the 31st of March. You've got other races. Well, headlines of April include the NASCAR race at Martinsville. The Auto Trader Echo Park Automotive 400 at Texas Motor Speedway. You've also got Darlington on there as well. And then the first playoff race will be at Atlanta as well for the Quaker State 400 available at Walmart as well. The season will conclude next year on the 10th of November at Phoenix again. And interestingly, according to this, there is no dirt race at Bristol next year. According to this, there's going to be 2 races at Bristol. One's the Bass Pro Shops night race, and the other, I believe, is going to be one of the first races of the season. Food City 500. But it will be on, I believe, I'm not sure if that is a dirt race. It's saying 265 miles on here. So, yeah. But that is all of the main NASCAR news there as well that I can bring you. We're just going to quickly go over the final bit of motorsport news now as well, guys. Any more stories, we'll get them in for you as we come down as well. In terms of other news, really, that has to be mentioned, we do have a little bit of other news as well that will be mentioned about. Also as well, in the MotoGP action, Bastianini there won that. He took a comeback win and opens a points lead in the championship. He enjoyed his best weekend this season, Sepang making a breakthrough win with a setup of his Ducati improved corner entry performance. So that's all of the latest motorsport news. With NASCAR finished, Formula 1 will be heading to Las Vegas next week. So we'll keep you updated all the latest news. Please like and subscribe to the video and I'll alert you when new videos get uploaded. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. And good night.